Well, hello. Hi, everyone.
My laptop's bigger than yours.
Wow, okay. We're doing that today.
Okay.
Malika's in a mood.
What happens when you change her camera? Can you still see her?
What's that?
I'm like hiding behind this like
Can you see her
giant
when
wall.
you switch to her camera?
Oh, okay, Malika, let's see.
Okay.
Okay,
Hey.
yeah. She's got the right angle. We can see her.
We
She's
can,
good.
we
It's
can work
good. It's
this. We can work this.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. We're calling this Superhero Tuesday.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of fun stuff lined up for today.
Can it be like Soups 2?
Soups 2?
Is that cool?
Oh, sorry.
Come
Should I
join
slouch?
us
Is that better?
For Soups 2.
Sorry. I just gave Zach so much extra work to do.
Oh,
Look, there's nobody
wow.
here. It's just a three-man crew.
No. That's our
Nailed it. Yeah,
no,
that's
no,
our invisible camera.
It's our robots.
That's right. That's Kaiju Robot.
I didn't just run to adjust that camera. No, that didn't happen.
Today is Superhero Tuesday. I'm very excited. We're going to be talking to our special guest very shortly about their brand new film and what's been going on with them during this whole crazy
That's right.
time.
We're going to be talking to Dinesh Shamdasani.
That's
and
right.
It's going to be really fun. And hopefully nothing he says on this show will get him in trouble legally.
He's controlling.
We'll find out.
He's
We'll
in
find out.
control
He's
of his
laughing
own
now.
words.
Then we're going to do survival skills after this with Malika. What are you going to be doing today?
Oh, we're going to have a discussion about sewing a cotton mask for yourself, your face.
Nice.
There's a lot of patterns out there. There's a lot of theories about what is the most effective, and we're going to be going through all of them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then at 4 o'clock, we're going to be doing board games. Zach and I are going to be playing. We're going to be playing in the Funkoverse universe. We've got Harry Potter.
I brought Harry Potter from
just
Malika.
in case. Oh, okay. And then we've got Batman. Since it's superhero themed, we're going to be focusing on Batman today. And if we have enough time, maybe we'll jump into this.
Well, no. You can mix the characters from Harry Potter to fight against Batman.
Oh, that'll be fun. Magic versus, non-magic. That'll be a good time.
Right. It's like the Force. The Force is magic. We discussed this yesterday.
Anyway, after that, we're going to be doing a very exciting double feature at 6 p.m., Birds of Prey and Bloodshot. I'm very excited. I've only had a chance to see.
Both available today.
Both available today digitally. That's right.
Dropped.
That's right. Very, very excited. I only had a chance to see one of these in theaters, and I'm excited to see the other, though I do wish that it was a theatrical experience, but I can't complain too much.
I'll do my best for you.
I know. I can't complain too much. We do have a 75-inch TV.
That's right. Do you want me to make you some popcorn?
Yes.
Want to get some popcorn?
Can you bring down the surround sound?
Well, no. I'm not doing that, man. I got a full day of work here. I'm not going to do that. But
Can't you just clone yourself?
What are some other snacks you like to get at the theater?
I mean, nothing that we have here.
Okay,
but
great,
like
cool. Then I don't have to worry about it.
Goobers and like that kind of
Okay.
stuff I love. Yeah,
All right.
none of the
I
stuff we have here.
like dibs. You guys
Dibs
know
are
the
good.
dibs?
Oh, I worked at a movie theater. I know dibs.
All right.
People like to put dibs in their popcorn and just let it melt and just.
Ooh, that little dibs hack.
Yeah. What do you think you were going to go out and get goobers for us in the middle of a pandemic? Do you think that's even going to be a thing? No, exactly.
No, I was just going to make you feel like you had something to look forward to and then disappoint you.
Oh, that's every day.
Yeah.
Zach.
It's a normal day
What's
here.
your
Unless you
favorite
make
snack?
ribs.
What's my favorite snack?
Yeah.
I like gummies. You know me,
Gummies.
I like
Oh,
gummies.
those are good.
Gummies are
Candy.
good.
I like gummies.
Yeah. So every single day this week is going to be themed. Tomorrow is Adventure Wednesday. We will still, I think we'll still be doing Comics and Coffee, correct?
Did you forget to make YouTube go live?
I did.
Okay.
I got it.
Twitch is live. Twitch is
It's
live.
fine. It's fine.
Twitch is live. We'll just do an export of the Twitch
We do.
highlight.
We will. Hi, YouTube. You're here. You're here. We're all here. We're all here. It's all fine.
Because of the lag, they might even hear me saying, "Did you forget to put?"
Yeah,
YouTube
probably.
live?"
There's a 3-minute lag on YouTube. Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome. But yeah, tomorrow we'll be doing Comics and Coffee. Tomorrow will be adventure themed. What's the game we're playing? Laser Riders?
Yes.
Yeah.
Laser Riders.
Vroom, vroom.
And then
Really
we're going to
fun.
be doing a screening of Hot Rod,
Yeah.
which I have never seen.
Yeah. Zach loves this movie.
So last week, for those that don't know, when we were watching Into the Spider-Verse, someone informed me, and I didn't know this, that Jorma Taccone did the voice of Green Goblin.
Yes.
Which kind of blew my mind.
Yep.
But because Jorma was in my brain, when the next scene hit, where they had some foreigner playing, and they had Miles wearing a little yellow cape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a little bit, I was like, "Oh my God, is this just a reference to Hot Rod?" Now that I know Jorma's in this, you don't cast Jorma to play
Right.
Green Goblin unless you're friends with Jorma,
Right.
because he's not the best voice actor to play the Green Goblin.
Not the obvious choice.
So one of our viewers tweeted out
Yeah.
to the director, like, "Hey, is this just like a Hot Rod reference in the middle of Into the Spider-Verse?" And he tweeted back, "Everything we do is a reference to Hot Rod." Blew my fucking mind.
You were only here just like, Oh my god.
Oh man! Now to know that Into the Spider-Verse has references to Hot Rod, that just it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It made me so happy.
A couple of quick updates before we get to our guest. I want to let people know that Warner Brothers did a big push on a lot of their movies as well. In the Heights, Scoob, and Wonder Woman 1984 have all been pushed back. Wonder Woman 84 was moved to August.
Whoa.
So we did talk about Wonder Woman a couple days ago, and there was a lot of chatter that it was going to maybe go digital. But Patty Jenkins did say that, like, we made a movie for the theater. We're going to wait for the theaters to open back up. And, you know, we hope that theaters are open when August rolls around. Hopefully. As long as it's safe, despite what you hear.
I think that's a great, actually, segue into our guest.
Yeah.
So why don't we go ahead and introduce our very wonderful guest that we have with us today, Dinesh Shamdasani, who is the producer of Bloodshot, one of the producers, also co-CEO and CCO of Bad Idea, which is a new comic book company that's coming out. And I'm super excited to talk to you today, Dinesh. Throw it to you. Hi.
Hi.
Hey guys.
Hello.
So speaking of movies going to digital,
Yeah.
your movie just went digital
Just this morning.
this morning.
Midnight. Last night, actually.
Wow. That's absolutely...
New world.
Yeah, it's a new world, man. Wow, what's that like? I mean, you were in theaters still.
I think shortest run in history, maybe. It's 4 days.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Basically, we made a straight-to-video Vin Diesel movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't tell him I said that.
We won't. We don't have any contact with him.
I'm curious. What is that discussion like when your movie opens on a Friday and you have to find out literally in the next 2 days the theater's closing? How quickly are you guys scrambling to try to figure out what to do? Or is it a very simple conversation of, okay, we're just going to drop it in a week on digital?
No, it's a very complicated situation. We had our premiere the Tuesday before the movie opened, and I saw the head of the studio, Tom Rothman, there, and we chatted about, are we going to be able to get ahead of this? Is coronavirus here? And the feeling was that we would just skin by a week or two ahead of it. Of course, on Thursday, the NBA shut down. The NHL shut down, Broadway went dark, everyone stayed indoors, and you watched we had a projection for the weekend of $20+ million. And I got calls throughout the weekend revising that down. I think it went from 23 to 19, 17, 14, 12, I think it was after that 9, 7, it ended at about 6 was the projection for the weekend, which is a fascinating series of calls to get. We ultimately ended up being the number 2 movie, opening at 10+ million, which was nice. But the theaters weren't open for very long. And the conversation after that was international markets, making sure that exhibition is being taken care of, because Sony are very adamant that their partners in the theater side don't feel like they're having something taken away from them, especially in a dire situation like this. And then safety was really the conversation for about a week. And then I think when the theaters shut down, it allowed us to be able to move the movie, because we weren't now taking it away from people that needed it to keep their jobs. And so that's when that moved. So
that's, like you said, a very difficult conversation to even have, and then a really tough decision to make. What kind of, because a lot of us are very unaware of what is this digital model even like?
How do you make money?
How do you, like what kind of product are you going to have to move at $20 a pop to be able to hopefully, come out okay in all of this?
Well, not all the international markets are shut, so it's still open in several markets overseas. It will probably get a release in some Asian territories, which are some of the larger territories. Like China is just starting to open their theaters up now.
Yeah.
And the film is released digitally only in the United States at the moment, and I think some international territories. The film is only available to purchase, which again is to help the theaters. But the numbers, I mean, you can do the math, what $23 million opening weekend would have looked like at $20 a piece. The percentage is much higher on digital, so it's a little smaller of a number. But what I'm hearing is that because people are home, the digital numbers are through the roof, 10 times multiple than they usually are.
Right.
So they're feeling pretty good.
That's good. That's great.
Good.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see.
Yeah.
But people like the movie, and honestly, that's the most important piece. I can say selfishly from the filmmaker side, from the actors, the director, the crew, the producers, we made a movie that we really believed in. I'm super proud of it. I've had people quote it to me. I've had people text me over the last couple of days how much they love the movie. The Rotten Tomatoes audience score is through the roof. that's kind of why you make a movie. The box office, it's gravy. I would have
Yeah.
liked to have seen it with a paying audience. I didn't get a chance to because I self-isolated pretty quickly, especially in 4DX, which I'm a big fan of. But
Right.
nah,
I happened to see it with a paying audience, and by paying audience, I mean it was me and one other person, because this was after people had already declared, social distancing, and I went and saw it at 11 a.m. at AMC in Burbank, and there was only one other person in the theater, and the projectionist messed up, and I sat in a dark theater with no sound and no visual for 30 minutes before someone came in and said, "Oh, sorry, we're really short-staffed today. Someone's going to get on this immediately." But there was only me and one other person in the theater, and it was real creepy, really weird. But I am glad I got to see the movie on the big screen.
how far into the movie did that happen?
No, it was before it even started. It was like the previews were supposed to run and nothing happened, and the lights just went down, and then we just sat in black for like 30 minutes before someone even realized that we were sitting in black.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, do you have one projectionist that's running back and forth right now because everyone called in
Yes.
sick or what?
That's
Yes,
insane.
that's
Yeah.
what happened.
Oh, it was
I believe
wild.
it's called the Hyper RPG crew.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty much. That's probably what it was.
I know this is probably an impossible question to answer,
Yeah.
but even though the movie is now available today digitally to buy, have there been any discussions that if and when the theaters open back up, is there a plan maybe to put the movie back into theaters, even if it's only temporarily? Or do you think once it's now out digitally, it'll only go to the markets that it hasn't been in yet, and then it'll just drop here on, for rent or on Blu-ray?
I think, unfortunately, anywhere that it had its launch, that's really the
That's
end
it.
of it.
That's it.
Yeah. There's so much. I mean, it's months of work and tens of millions of dollars in marketing to get to that moment where a movie hits theaters. And very unfortunately for this movie, we had such a small window. It's hard to turn all those engines on again. I think there is a good chance that some of the other markets that haven't opened will open at some point in the future. Hopefully when we're all safe. But at this point, it's digital and then physical, Blu-ray, DVD, etc. going forward.
Well, let's shy away from talking about release and just talk about the movie itself.
Yeah.
I know we talked a little bit before we got rolling, but why don't you just give us some insight into what it was like making Bloodshot? You guys shot in many different countries with an all-star cast and an extremely tight budget that you got a lot out of.
And I'm always very curious to hear about translating this comic book storyline to one single cinematic piece, right? That's always very fascinating to me because it's like, what do you leave in? What do you change? What do you leave out? Yeah.
No, it's tough. You guys know, I ran Valiant Comics for about 10 years as CEO and CCO, and then transitioned out and was brought on the movie, which I'd been developing, to produce it for Sony. So it was a unique experience. I got to be on both sides of the table, both as the IP holder and then purely as a producer. The core idea that we came up with, right or wrong, in terms of how to adapt something like this is you try and stay very true to the core characterization and the core tone. And beyond that, I think that audiences don't want a panel by panel faithful adaptation. They want an adaptation that feels like what they've grown to love, but is a story they haven't seen before. Feels in keeping, but takes advantage of the medium, the music, the sound, the motion of camera, motion within camera, the big effects that you're able to do in a feature film. For us, it was about keeping those two elements, and we brought people in that knew the characters really well. Eric Heiser, who wrote at Valiant, wrote a book called Secret Weapons.
One of my absolute favorites. That book is so good. I was asked to be on a podcast just a week or two ago after I saw Bloodshot, and we, as a group, were talking about our favorite thing that we'd love to see in theater would be a Secret Weapons movie, because it's just so fucking cool,
They're great. It might be my favorite book we put out while I was there. It's definitely in the top 3 or 4. But Eric wrote the script to Bloodshot. He also wrote a fantastic script to Harbinger that was going to connect into Bloodshot. But he knows the characters very well. And we brought this director on board, super talented director by the name of Dave Wilson, who knows comics, really loves comics. He's a first-time feature director, but has directed a lot of material outside of features. And so he's done this before with actors, etc. And it was a case of casting it up and going away and building the film. And it's interesting having someone like Vin Diesel on board, because he's made so many movies. He's been a movie star for so long. He really he gets his hands dirty in terms of the producerial component. And so there's a lot of rebuilding the script when you're on set, a lot of trying to elevate things that you've built already. And truth be told, the movie's better for it. It was a huge force of nature for us.
Awesome. And if you're willing, you just mentioned that Eric wrote the Harbinger script as well. And I know as a big Valiant fan, it was really interesting to me to see a movie that was completely self-contained. That's a comic book movie, which is nice. But then as a Valiant fan, very strange to know that the story of Bloodshot is so intertwined into the story of Toyo Harada and Harbinger and, Project Rising Spirit. All those things usually can't one exist without the other. What was it like to be working on a movie for so long and have, I'm sure, and I'm just making assumptions as a fan of the comics, this idea of two interconnected movies that would eventually kind of come together as one, like Harbinger Wars, and then have to kind of readapt and move on the fly and change up a lot of things?
It's not so tough. The way I look at it, if you take Marvel, DC, and Valiant, DC are very much telling a large multi-continuity story, and every piece of the story that you get is part of this larger tapestry that you kind of have to know of to understand that story. Marvel does a very good job of telling episodic stories. So here's an episode of a larger narrative. And I think Valiant's always done a good job of telling a story that if you're new to the story, feels self-contained, but if you understand the larger pieces, you see where the threads are connected. And we built that here as well. The big question that people aren't asking themselves about Bloodshot, which I take to be a huge compliment to the way the film is built, is why build Bloodshot at all? In the film, RST has built this incredible technology in nanotechnology. It can cure cancer, it can cure death, it can do all these things, but they weaponize it and they put it in a man. Why would they utilize it in that way? And the big idea behind that is because it's humanity's only chance to survive the Harbinger onslaught that is behind the scenes of the movie. And we were going to tie the movie into that a little bit more thoroughly than we did, especially we had a post-credit sequence of Toyo Harada.
Can you tell them what you told me, or do you want to keep that a secret?
No, sure. I'm happy to. We worked very hard to get, there was kind of a wish list casting for Toyo Harada, and that was Ken Watanabe. And so we worked for months diligently, and we were very, very close to getting him until the rug was pulled from under us and Valiant moved Harbinger over to Paramount. And so we couldn't do that anymore. And so at that point, we had to start to pull some of the building blocks that we'd inserted into the film. There was even in the first act a couple of lines from famous Harbinger comics that we inserted into the film that we had to pull out. And I don't think people missed them, but they would have given you that larger tapestry. The idea that if in success there was the opportunity to make more films, there was places to go.
Right. Well, at least you got the blue Mustang in there. I was happy to see. I was happy to see the blue Mustang. And even the truck that Ray drove around, those like little details that kind of tied it back to the comic book, and like I said, it was really interesting for me because I know you are, and Eric.
Just let me tell you a story about that real quick. That was fun. That's the thing about making a movie is you have all these people that are super talented, and all they do with their days, all day, is like make impossible shit happen. And I remember the director came over and he's like, "So we have this sequence. Gina's gonna turn up in a car, and Dinesh, will you just figure out what the car is with the team?" And I was like, "Sure." And they go, "So what do you think?" And I go, "Well," and I pull up my phone. "How about this car from this comic book? Is that even a real car?" And they go, "It looks like a baby blue 1989 Ford Mustang." I'm like, "Yeah, can we get that?" "Well, yeah, sure. We'll be here tomorrow."
What?
And then they had 3 of them. So we found 3 shades of blue. Holy shit, this is amazing. After that, it was like I wouldn't leave them alone. Every time we had a car, I'm like, "What about this one from the comic book? What about this mug?" They just all appear. These people are so talented.
Well, speaking on that, then, what I noticed, the truck and the Mustang. Are there any other visual?
Yeah, so many
Easter eggs. Oh, come on, you gotta let me know. What? Come on.
You bought it online, right? You bought it digitally. You can watch it over and over and over.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
If you look at the place that has the most, is if you look at Eric, played by Siddharth, his desk is literally littered.
Okay.
There's even a Nerd Boss hat in there if you look.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Don't tell Sony because we don't have permission.
Okay. Well, I know that there's some other stuff you got going on just outside of Bloodshot, and I've been anxious to talk to you about this for a very long time. What is Bad Idea other than being a bad idea?
Oh, no.
Bad idea. It is, first of all, it is probably a very bad idea.
Oh, no.
So running Valiant for 10 years, you really are in the salt mines of comics, right? You're an independent publisher with characters that are somewhat known, and you're expected to compete with Marvel and DC, but really you're competing with Disney and Warner Brothers, and you can't. There's no way to really compete with them, so you do your best to bring a spoon to a nuke fight. And you really learn a lot about how comics work, and you have to be smarter, and you have to build better books, and you have to just understand every part of the animal better. Having left Valiant, looking at the way that the comics industry works from the deep inside, it dawned on me and the other crew at Bad Idea, who were all people from Valiant, Warren Simons, who was our editor-in-chief, Hunter Goranson was head of marketing, Josh Johns, who ran all of Valiant Digital, Adam Freeman, who was head of sales. All these people came over, and we kind of looked at what comics was and thought, if you just focused, rather than, this is why it's a bad idea, on making money and building an empire and building a profitable company, if you just focused on building really good books, you could get rid of a lot of stuff here. You wouldn't need variants. You wouldn't need digital, as crazy as that sounds. You could self-distribute to allow yourself to be able to do things that aren't allowed to be done. At Diamond, for instance, you don't have to put a book out on Wednesday. You could put a book out on Saturday. You can put a book out whenever you want. You can send a book in for free, change the payment terms, things like that. And so we started to build a company. No trades is another thing that we looked at. That really was just about bring a bunch of people that are our friends together, that are super talented, like Matt Kent, Eric Kaiser, Jeff Lemire, Louis LaRosa, Thomas Giorello, etc., and saying, okay, let's just build really cool books. Let's put them out ourselves. And I can tell you, we've dramatically underestimated the demand. We thought we would do this little thing that was more to the 80s explosion.
You kind of threw together the Valiant All-Star team, though. Like, you know, some of the...
Lucky, yeah.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the people that made Valiant what it was that we all really loved as fans, and then you brought in all those creators. Why didn't you think there'd be a demand?
Because it's when you put it that way, it sounds foolish, I will admit. But you don't have the IP, right? One, you don't have the IP. Two, you don't have the kind of history that Valiant or someone like that has. And three, you don't really look at yourself and go, okay, cool, well, all of us make good comics. People will come with you, just assume they won't. Plus, it's a crazy model. We knew it would upset people. I thought it would upset more people than it frankly has. People got really excited about it.
I saw a lot of people upset, too.
You know, what's interesting is the people that are upset are the ones that jumped in first.
Yeah.
They would allow us to get, there was some retailers that would allow us to get upset. And then they were the ones hounding us, offering us space and what can they do to get involved. We had one of the biggest stores in the country wrote us a 3-page letter. Here's who we are. Here's what we do. Everyone knows who you are. Biggest store in the world. So it's fascinating to see.
Interesting. So what's your, planned rollout? And does anything that's happening right now, you said that you're not using Diamond for publishing. You guys are self-publishing. What is your planned rollout, and does COVID-19 affect your schedule in any way?
Sure it does. We haven't determined what we can do about that yet. Our primary concern is the retail stores. The entire idea behind Bad Idea is comic books made by people who love comic books for comic book stores, and to try and maintain that experience. And so with stores being forced to close, with stores struggling now with less product, Bad Idea really is not a huge money maker for them. We're only going to put out 1 or 2 issues a month. It's not a lot of content. We're going to ask a lot of them. We're hopefully going to do a lot for them. We ask a lot of the consumer as well. And it's a question of, are we asking too much in this time? And so what we're doing at Bad Idea right now is trying to figure out what we can do to help them in this situation. And does that mean putting more books out? Does that mean putting less books out? Does that mean delaying the books? Does that mean doing something completely different now and then launching later? We're trying to figure that out. We've been talking to retailers about it. And as you can imagine, they all have completely different points of view because they have different experiences about what's happening.
Now, we mentioned yesterday on the show that Diamond was suspending shipping books for now. And I had maybe some ignorant viewpoints on Diamond and its necessity. And I feel like this is a great opportunity for you, Dinesh, to probably keep me from being an ignorant little asshole and being able to have a proper idea of how important Diamond is. And what do you think about them delaying books and what kind of impact that will have on the industry?
Diamond is, I think everyone's looking at safety first. And if you've ever been to a Diamond warehouse, the way that they work is you've got hundreds of people crammed in a very small environment, surrounded by books, and they're all touching the same book over and over again. So I may go and pick a book up from an order, put it over here. Some guy comes in, puts other books on top of it. Another guy comes and picks that stack up, wraps it. Another guy puts that in a box. Another guy puts that box in another box. Another guy puts a label on it. Another guy puts it in the tray that needs to go off to shipping. Another guy pulls the tray over. I mean, that book's been touched 10 times in a situation where we have viral droplets in the air being able to be spread very quickly. That's a recipe for disaster. And I think they're rightly looking at it thinking, we can't put our employees at risk. The books could then, we don't know how long they live on surfaces. It's something like 2 days on paper, but this is all early data, so we don't know. Could infect people in stores, customers, etc. And I think they're making the very difficult but right choice to say, let's cool out, let's see how things go. Also, a bunch of publishers are doing the same thing, so there's not a lot of product coming in there.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond, I've always loved Diamond. They were very good to us at Valiant. I think they're sometimes seen as a monopoly, an evil monopoly.
Yeah, that's how I saw them. That's definitely the ignorant viewpoint I put out there.
But I can tell you from the Bad Idea situation where we have to self-distribute the books, the way it worked at Valiant is I would print a book, it would go to Diamond on a Friday, it would be out to stores on a Monday. That's 2 business days. A weekend if they have people working on a weekend, but often they don't. 2 business days to get our books as well as every other book in the industry, receive them, sort them, pack them, send them out with minimal damages. I think the damage rate at Diamond is like 0.5%. Considering the number of books they put out, millions, tens of millions, it's really strong. At Bad Idea, we looked at it and we were like, okay, so 6 weeks. It's going to take us 6 weeks to do this, and we have to hire a whole crew. It's no small task.
Wow.
So my hat's off to Diamond, and I hope. But it's going to be a huge struggle for them, for stores, for readers. It's not an easy situation.
Well, thank you for enlightening us with some of that that info. Now, Adam, I know you probably had some more topics on the board that you wanted to talk about,
Sure.
and and Dinesh, you can just jump in with your thoughts and your feelings overall.
Yeah. So not too much, because like even though this stuff is kind of evolving every single day, a lot of the news kind of blurs between days, and a lot of stuff we get updates on. But one of the big thing that came out today was a lot of European indies are breaking the theatrical window and going straight to digital, because they know that like we don't have theaters to go to, so we're just gonna like go against the grain and just break our release window, which I think traditionally, I don't know how it is in other countries, but I think here it's a 90-day window where your movie has to play theatrically, unless it's like particularly made for digital streaming, before it can go to digital. But a lot of independent distributors across Europe are feeling the hurt of what's been going on, so they're breaking all that sort of stuff. And just for the group in general, do you think that that's going to become a trend here as well, or do you think that filmmakers and studios will continue to honor that unless they're in a unique situation where their movie has literally just opened the weekend of?
Are there any rules in this, or is it purely just an honor system?
I don't know that for sure. I don't know if there's like some sort of like binding contract.
It is an honor system, but there's leverage. So if a movie studio puts a film out, well, actually, there was an example. I think it was Mark Cuban's company about a decade ago tried to break the window, and they put their movie out. Oh, Netflix has done it a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
They put their movie out digitally. The theaters just don't run it, and you've lost a massive revenue stream. There's such a similarity between movies and comic books in the sense that the theatrical experience is the pinnacle of experiences. Like, Adam, you haven't seen Bloodshot in the theater. With a big audience, it works incredibly. And it's built to be a larger-than-life film, the same way Wonder Woman is saying they're built to be that way. Not all movies are built that way, but certainly these big spectacle movies are. The same way comic books, I think, are best read when you go to a store, you interact with a retailer, you pick the book up physically, and you turn the pages physically. I think that's the pinnacle experience. And then you can stratify it afterwards so that there is a digital release, there's the home video release that you can hold physically, there's maybe an aftermarket release, which is a plane or something like that, an airplane viewing. Same with comic books, you've got trade paperbacks, hardcovers, digital. And they're all important, and what it does is if you love something, ultimately you're going to spend money 2 or 3 times to consume it, and you're going to get different experiences out of each one. The community aspect of a movie theater is, I think, everyone that loves movies loves watching it with a crowd and hearing the ahs and ahs, seeing someone say, "Don't go in there," or "Ah, what an idiot that guy is." That's valuable, and if we lose that, I think it'll be a cascade of dominoes, and it'll severely hurt both hearts.
I heard a lot of people online saying, and this was before movies like Bloodshot and Birds of Prey were announced to go digital, a lot of people were saying that if these movies do decide to go digital, it'll be the end of cinema. And I myself don't particularly agree.
Yeah, is that clickbait? Is that?
Yeah, like I don't agree that 3 to 4 movies could have that big of a cascading effect, but I am curious if a lot of these big movies continue to drop digitally. And look, I don't think that movies like Wonder Woman 84 or Black Widow will go digital. I think they will continue to push the date.
It's the indie darlings, right?
Yeah. It's the indie darlings, and it's also like maybe like the more like a movie like Scoob, for example, for Warner Brothers. Could you release it theatrically? Absolutely. But could it do just as well because it has such a wide net of appeal to so many different age ranges? Yes. At what point, do you get worried that, well, it could definitely crush the cinematic experience for certain types of movies. And I know we've talked about this many times of, in maybe not this year or next year, but in 5 to 10 years, are we only going to be going to theaters to see Marvel, DC, Valiant, these big, huge tentpole movies based on comic books and stuff?
Yeah.
I love it. Valiant in the conversation now. One movie in theaters. It's not the same experience, though. I mean, that's the thing that no one's talking about. Is It is a different experience, and it's a better experience. I don't see it happening just because I think the consumer wants to go to the movie theater. Yeah. And I have just as many fond experiences going to see what you would consider small, talking indie films in the theater with a big audience than I do watching the big Marvel movies.
Oh,
so
me too.
Oh my God, us seeing Lighthouse.
Yeah, I was just about to say Lighthouse
Parasite.
in theaters was a trip, and I saw Parasite 3 times in theaters.
Yeah,
and it's but we are. I feel
we're in a unique category,
right? And I always have to like distance myself and think about people who don't live in LA who don't didn't move here for the joy of cinema.
I still beat myself up for not seeing Sicario in theaters when it came out. Like, I'm still mad at myself about that.
Yeah.
But like any other person who's not necessarily like the biggest film buff, they're gonna be like, oh, it's a great movie. I don't know if I needed to see it in theaters. And I'm over there like,
luckily we do have an audience watching who's based all over the world. So please do share in both chats like what you guys' thoughts are. Do you personally at home feel like you're consuming most of your new content digitally anyway, or do you all still like find this pure joy in going to the movies?
Yeah, we are in that unique situation where like we all have A-list. And we go every single week, or we try to go every single week to see the new movie to just stay current.
Well, also it's like a generational thing, right? So like the landscape of dating has changed so much. Dinner and a movie, like I haven't been offered that, right?
Get the fuck out of here! What are you talking about? What the hell is that?
But like the landscape,
this has been my quarantine every day.
The landscape of dating has changed so much, where Netflix and chill is like the way you date now. So you're not going to the movie theater anymore. And then like the younger generations, like Zach and I, we've had this conversation where we feel movies are still being made for our generation, and where are all the teens? So like when we were teenagers, we were going to the movie theater. That was a cool thing to do every summer. School's out, let's go to the movie theater, let's hang out. There's air conditioning, it's great. And now everybody has a movie theater in their pocket. So I feel like generationally it's already kind of faded out. And through the history, if you look at the history of movie theaters in the world, it seems like every 10, 15 years, there has to be a new gimmick that gets people into the theater. Let's change the size of the frame. Let's add color. Let's add sound. Let's make it 3D. Let's make it a different kind of 3D. Let's add seats that shake and blow air at your feet. You know what I mean? Like, there's always some kind of gimmick, and I wonder, I think there is going to be a theater experience in 5, 10, 15 years, but it's going to be different because theaters at home are getting better and better. We have surround sound. We have 4K. We have a huge screen, You can pause it whenever you want. That's true.
Not everybody does. Sure. And I think also it's the type of movies. Clearly, Zach isn't taking you out.
This is bullshit. This is bullshit. All right. We go to the movies like once a fucking week when we're allowed to. Well, I took you to Disneyland yesterday. How quickly that's forgotten.
So to clarify, but it was a Disney at home.
Because we can't leave the fucking house.
But to clarify, like the dating landscape has changed a lot. I mean, for those of you who are like in the dating,
you've got horror films. The numbers are out in horror films. The audiences are much younger. Horror and comedy, I think, are the gateway drugs. And IMAX.
Yeah.
The Netflix and chill. When we announced IMAX on Bloodshot, I got a lot of tweets asking if I was going to be IMAXing and climaxing. I didn't know it existed.
Wait, that's a thing?
I'll put it on the shirt.
Thing? Yeah. IMAX and climax.
I mean, I do that a lot when I go to IMAX movies, but
IMAX needs to get you on the phone for marketing right now.
ASAP.
That needs to be a shirt immediately. IMAX and climax.
I'm gonna make it. That's incredible.
That's gonna be on our store tomorrow.
That's really good. Yeah.
I think you need to ask Malik out.
Man, what do you do this? You do this. You throw me in this boat.
Well, I mean, it's just very like as a dating woman, like, what, 5 years ago now? I guess, so maybe it's changed. You know, before we were together, like, people don't ask you on a date anymore. They were just like, do you want to hang out? It's so casual, and I feel like it's even just gone, like, further down that track.
We both have AMC A-list. We go to the movies
We're
all
married.
the
I'm not
time.
talking about us.
Dinesh,
Everything
this has turned
isn't
into group
about
therapy.
us.
You literally said me. You literally said I don't take you to dinner in a movie.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Welcome to Hyper RPG, a very loving
What about the
community.
Alamo?
I'm gonna
Alamo
stay
Draft House.
quiet now.
I haven't got to. I
Movie,
haven't
same
got.
time.
To, yeah, I haven't got to go there yet.
Great.
Oh man, I want to go really bad.
You know,
You know why you haven't been?
Oh, don't.
Oh, God. Oh,
son
God.
of a
Oh,
bitch.
God. Oh, God.
We live right next to an AMC. Okay, it's walking distance.
oh my
Here's a
goodness.
question for you. During this, stay-at-home quarantine, I don't really want to use the word quarantine because it might give people the bad idea that
No,
people are sick.
I've been staying away from that.
Isolation.
Yeah, isolation.
Isolation.
Aside from obviously having to do work and potentially, work on, comics and scripts and all that stuff while you're at home, what are you watching? Shows, movies? How are you keeping yourself entertained? Or even if you're just listening to music?
I'm very sad. I finished Succession season 2.
That show's great.
I'm trying to find another show to start now. My wife is very upset with me that we haven't found one. We tried to watch Schitt's Creek,
Yeah.
which I'm not a fan of, unfortunately. I reorganized my Wizard magazine collection.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I love Wizard Magazine.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
It's super lame. I don't know. What else have I done? I went through my draft emails. I'm doing things that I never would have done
Oh my goodness
if
gracious.
the world not ended,
Yeah.
which is fun. To see all the emails I almost sent. Most of them are angry. I didn't realize I thought when I hit X, they would delete them. They're just sitting in my draft, and I'm just all these angry emails. Kind of fun. I thought I was sending a couple of them late.
It's like a
Oh,
self-reflection.
man.
You
Yeah,
just look
a
in the
little
mirror
bit.
and you're like,
Can I suggest for a show to add for you and your wife to add to your watch list? Malika and I are both big fans of The Kingdom
Yeah.
on Netflix, which is a Korean zombie show.
Oh, it's so great.
Awesome. Okay, The Kingdom.
The Kingdom.
Come on,
It's
nice
2
tonight.
seasons. It should fill up some time for you.
Great.
I think Devs is getting really interesting. We've been watching a couple
That's the
episodes of
Alex
Devs.
Garland
on
show,
Hulu.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, Alex Garland.
I wanna
I
watch
think
that.
I think that'd be right up your alley, Dinesh.
Alex has a show. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's got
And it's got the music too, right? The weird like
yeah, aren't we doing
Noise.
Ex Machina this
Yeah,
week?
we're doing a
on
screening
Sci
of-
Friday.
yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
watch Ex Machina.
So we've been doing these watch-alongs, and we themed every day. So we're like, okay, Friday, we got to do Ex Machina because people in our audience have been talking about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Which,
Oh, that's
like,
cool. Zach, you and Malika doing watch-alongs?
yeah.
yes,
You and Adam.
All of us
all
together.
of us,
Three
yeah.
of us.
Last night we did Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yep. It's a
We're
classic.
basically pulling stuff from net. So we polled our audience, and majority of the audience said that they use Netflix. So we're just like trying to find stuff on Netflix that we can watch the audience every day. But for like special occasions, like when Birds of Prey and Bloodshot come out early, we're like, okay, well we gotta.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah,
do
we'll
these.
do digital releases as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of diving into Netflix's catalog to do watch-alongs with the audience.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Augustine says you better take your wife out on a date. Or
This
else.
is some bullshit. This is some bullshit. I got thrown under the biggest bus today. You're so happy with yourself right now.
just a tank. Just a tank rolled over you at this point.
It's fine.
I do have a question about, and again, this might be something you cannot answer, which is totally fine. But because of some of the Valiant movies shifting to a new studio, how does that sort of affect your work on it, or what you can and can't do in their respective universes going forward?
I'm not connected to Valiant anymore. I ran it for 10 years, and then this Chinese firm came in and kind of in a very hostile way took over, and a lot of us were pushed aside. I was brought on to Bloodshot by Sony. So once I left Valiant, they called me and said, "What's your deal look like? Can we bring you on board, hire you?" So I'm on Bloodshot. I've had a couple overtures from Paramount on Harbinger. To be honest, with Bad Idea, and then I'm working on a couple of film and TV projects. I've got like Weird Fantasy, which we're doing as a TV show based on the EC Comics library, Illuminatus, Final Fantasy, etc. I don't know that I'm really going to dive into Valiant much more. They don't make it a very pleasant experience to me. It's not an amicable situation. So I love Bloodshot. I was super excited about the script. Really proud of the film now, and I feel like that's a nice end button for now.
Time to move on.
Little pin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
I
of,
recommend the Eric Kaiser script. It's fantastic. They should definitely use that.
I hope they do, and I hope. Yeah. Oh man. I mean it's crazy. You know, I can only imagine. I feel bad because I want to like talk about my feelings of what it's like to be a huge Valiant fan and know what could be possible and how contracts and back-end negotiations can just change something completely. But I feel like an asshole even wanting to express those things knowing you have way more at stake and way more in the game as a fan, as a person who ran the company for 10 years, you know.
People have it all wrong about me. My cup runneth over.
Yeah.
I love Valiant. I got to bring them back. People like the books. I got to run that company. I got to make a movie that I'm super proud of. I mean, it's all gravy for me. Anything negative is I'm so overburdened with good stuff.
Cool.
I'm good. You should definitely talk about your feelings though. Don't hold that back.
Okay. Well,
3, 2, 1.
we could have had Ken as Harada. Like,
Yeah, it would have been amazing.
that would have been so fucking cool, man. The whole movie, I was waiting for like some sort of tie-in to Harbinger, you know, and a little bit. You can't have Bloodshot the movie without Harbinger, and you know, you want to see Bloodshot out there protecting those kids, and you know, having to make that tough call, and you want to see the Harada protocol be kicked in when he thinks he's actually free. Like, there's certain moments in the comics that hit so fucking hard that we could have had, but some bigwigs in a fucking studio gotta just throw all that shit out a goddamn window. It's bullshit, man.
It is bullshit. That was wonderful.
No, it's really interesting hearing you talk about your relationship with something that you created, because I think the three of us also feel the same way about things that we've worked on, that you're just ready to make the next thing, you know? I think a creator is always looking forward, you know? And if there are things that we've made in the past that you can't work on anymore because of contracts or whatever, it's fine, because I have like a million other ideas. Come watch them. Come read them. Yeah.
Oh, I get way more upset about other people's projects than my own.
Yeah.
It's like in my own world, I'm more like, I try to take your route. It's like, it's whatever. It's next thing. What's next? What's next?
Cool. I'll come up with a better idea.
Yeah, it's this, you know, it's the bullshit nerd rage stuff when it's somebody else's thing that you're just like, oh, I'll put all my anger into that.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Speaking of other stuff that you got going on, you know, your IMDb does show you have a couple things in pre-production.
When I saw you say something about Final Fantasy, I'm like,
was
tell
waiting
me
for it.
more.
I was waiting
'cause
for it. But
I love that franchise so much.
Great.
Zach didn't even know how much I loved it until
what is the deal today? What the fuck? Did I steal the covers in bed last night or something? Like, what happened? What's going on? You had such a good birthday yesterday.
No, but I did.
What is this shit?
What day is today?
Her birthday was yesterday. We threw her a birthday party all day.
Thank you.
Apparently
thank you.
it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, when I booted up Final Fantasy 13 on stream, I started crying because I felt like us fans didn't deserve another Final Fantasy. Like, I was so emotional. It was so funny. And, like, you were so surprised. You're like, I had no idea it meant so much to you.
We got enough to make you cry.
Oh, well, you know, Spider-Man.
That's true. The only time I've ever cried in front of my wife ever was when Spider-Man died in Avengers.
Poor guy.
You knew he was coming back.
It's still, man, when he said Mr. Stark, like, I lost it. When he said Mr. Stark, I fucking lost it. I couldn't help myself.
Sorry, Mr. Stark.
Poor guy.
I saw in the theater I went to see the movie, and there was a 5-year-old crying,
Yeah.
and no one said anything, but everyone else was totally cool because you know they announced the next movie already.
Yeah.
Your point.
Yeah, my
You say they announced. I saw that in Memphis, okay? And let me tell you, I don't care if they announced the next movie. Whenever Black Panther died, that theater nearly walked the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
They were furious, cussing at the screen, screaming, yelling, and then I'm the one white guy in the back like, oh, Spider-Man. Oh, no. But I was like, fuck this shit. This movie sucks.
That's the crazy thing. Like those two movies, Infinity War and Endgame, I went to the press screenings at the Disney lot, and I've been to quite a few of those, and the audiences they're pretty neutral. Like, they get excited sometimes, but they're not that vocal because they're just like letting it all soak in. Wow, yeah. When Black Panther and Spidey died in Infinity War, I thought they were gonna tear that theater apart. And then Endgame, I've never seen a press screening like hit a 20 on like the decibel level. People were going crazy. But yeah, it's unique experiences watching those
Yeah,
movies.
I totally forgot we did watch it in Memphis. And
Yeah.
that is on a like a kind of small
Tiny
screen.
theater.
Yeah, it wasn't that great. I was like, man, the projection and the emotional attachment of the audience to, you could kind of tell as each person kind of blipped away how like different groups of people getting upset.
Yeah. So here's another
But
like
apparently I'm a 5-year-old for having feelings.
here's a more of like a theatrical question. So I'm the type of person that I like to go out and look and find like, okay, what format is this movie playing in? Is it in IMAX? Is it in 3D? Is it in Dolby?
Yeah.
Do you have a preference, or are you mostly just like, I love the theatrical experience, I just want to see it, big screen, surround sound, comfortable seating, popcorn in hand?
I'm the worst, dude. I love it all. I was most excited about seeing Bloodshot in 4DX. Because
Hell yeah.
I've always wondered, how do they do that? Do the filmmakers get involved? Turns out not at all.
Oh, okay. That's what I've been always curious about too.
Curious about how much it was going to rock and when the water but there was a thing that I'd never heard of that they did for Bloodshot that I also didn't get to check out. Something called ice. Do you guys know what ice is?
No.
So ice is you've got a big screen here, and then you have 2 more screens on the side.
Yeah, they do that at a Koreatown theater too.
Yeah.
Supposed to be screen, and allegedly, you might know better than me. Allegedly, it's not the whole movie, but for big sequences, like big action sequences, the movie expands, and you get to see this like 180. I
Yeah.
had no idea how they were going to do it. They had it for Bloodshot. Did they shoot more footage without telling us?
Interesting. Yeah, I know Train to Busan had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been nuts to just see like the rest of the train, like the interior of the train or something.
So what? Yeah, but that's a good question because we talk a lot about formats and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, are these theaters then taking it upon themselves to be like, well, we're going to scale up your image and crop it more to get
So-
this extra?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you actually kind of get less of the movie.
But even then, like, how the fuck can you do that? Like,
Yeah.
that's not cool.
Or some marketing team in a room creating like special assets for this extra screen material. It's always been such a fascinating thing to me to figure out like who makes those decisions as to like what format a movie goes to, and like, okay, we're gonna make it in IMAX. Great. Who decides how the movie's like rescaled and cropped and all that sort of stuff? Who makes all that shit?
IMAX we were very involved in. We had an IMAX booth. We were very involved. We went to the IMAX theater, did the sound, visual, all that. They're very involved with the filmmakers, so they're great. ICE, we found out, the director and I were at a test screening for the movie, and the president of production, physical production, comes over to us and says, hey, great news. Bloodshot's going to be in ICE. And we were both like, what's that?
You're gonna freeze it? What?
Right. He explains it to us, and we're like, where's the footage come from? And he goes, don't worry about it, guys. They're gonna take care of that. We were like, no.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
We were like, what? What does this mean? Couldn't get an answer for months.
Wow.
Interesting.
I mean, like, you worked in a whole industry of 3D conversion.
Yeah.
It's like the ice conversion.
I guess. But when we did the 3D film conversions, the filmmakers were very involved.
Yeah.
Like we had Spielberg and Joss Whedon and all these people come to our studio when we worked on stuff like Titanic and Jurassic Park and Avengers and everything. So I feel like that's a little different. Plus, it's you have to have a singular person or a group of like 1 to 3 people really driving what that vision is, because if the 3D is extremely inconsistent, it like completely ruins the whole movie watching experience for you. Whereas I feel like with something where you have extra views on the side, can it be distracting? Yes, but it doesn't really like require that same sort of like meticulous creation.
Right. It takes having an understanding of the point of emphasis.
Yeah.
Because you're right. If you are watching a 3D film where it's all over here, but the filmmakers had already chosen this to be the specific
Yeah.
point of emphasis, and now you're diluting it down because you're, there's stuff all around here. That's awful. Like, as a creator, I would not be happy.
Yeah,
I
but
would be
what if-
very upset.
But what if they spray water in your face and the seat shakes while it's happening?
Well, that's what I was saying, though. There's a
Right? Right?
history. There's a history of
The other way.
putting gimmicks into the theaters that you can't get at home to
Yeah.
get people out, right?
Hey, look, if I need to, I'll take a spray bottle and I'll just spritz you every couple minutes. It'll be fine.
I was surprised you
You
didn't.
Tonight with Bloodshot.
That's right. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
take fake blood.
there's a pool scene. You know, there's some Just don't throw shrapnel at me, okay?
I might.
Going back to Bloodshot, though, you got to.
Hey, and I also,
Oh God.
can you tell us anything about Final Fantasy?
There's a lot of chocobos, and I can't. They'll get very upset at me. Square
Okay.
Enix. I've already gotten several emails from Square Enix.
Oh, yikes.
In the last 15 minutes.
Those we have found that a lot of the creators in Japan, it's a very interesting culture over there.
Yeah.
Where they respect the creator more in some ways. Because on all my little action figures, it has the name of the manga artist on the bottom of their foot, which is amazing to me. You know, it's not just like Disney, Marvel. But on the other hand, you know, they're kind of, I don't want to say slow or kind of maybe hesitant to kind of, you know, tell too much, work with other influencers, things like that. They're kind of on the fringe of their development cycle. Anyways, we can go back to Bloodshot.
We don't
want
to get Dinesh in trouble.
We don't want to get him in trouble.
We would like to have him back at some point.
The only thing I'm allowed to say is there are chocobos.
That's you have that canned response. There are
chocobos.
Okay, cool, great. That makes Malika happy. That's enough. That's all she needed. But getting back to production on Bloodshot, how many different countries did you all shoot in for that?
We shot principal was in Cape Town, South Africa, all over Cape Town, lots of sets as well. We did a couple days in Montreal, a couple days in London. We had splinter units in Budapest, Hungary, and Malaysia.
Wow.
Budapest is beautiful.
It is. Cape Town is phenomenal. If you've never been to Cape Town, it might be the most beautiful place on the planet.
So you were there for months in Cape Town. What was it like having production situated there?
It's wonderful. It's a great city. The crews are super, super, super talented. They've made a lot of movies over there. The place is beautiful. The food is great. Everyone's super friendly. It was fascinating for me, interesting experience, because I had my first child. I had a daughter. She was 5 weeks old, and then I fucked off to Cape Town for about 6 months, came back, and I have a second now, and I'm in that period now, the period I missed, and I don't think I missed that much.
Oh my God.
And I'm indirectly getting thrown under a bus, and you're just putting yourself in the way of the steamroller there.
It's wonderful, it's cute, but they don't know. There's a fourth trimester, if you will, of development that happens outside the womb. So it was a good time for me to leave. But it was
my goodness.
fascinating because you're making a movie, and I'd never made one before. Everything that you learn about making movies kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
And you realize, it's exactly what you think it is. For instance, there was a day where the art department came over to me and they said, hey, the director wants you to help us out with the tunnel that we're building. There's a big tunnel sequence, and we had to build this tunnel. And I go, sure, what do you need? Well, we have these 6 different nails, and we need to figure out which of these nails we want to use in the tunnel. And I go, oh, cool. Are they going to be able to be seen? Well, maybe, but, light reflections. Oh, let's get the DP. So we get the DP. He brings a couple of the grips. And we have this big meeting, and we pick the nail that's the most bloodshot. You cannot see this fucking nail. We used 10,000 of them. We built this whole tunnel. It's all dark and full of flour and smoke and shit. You can't see these nails. But someone has to make that choice. And before that, someone has to choose the 10 for us to look at. They have to narrow it down. And every single thing that you can imagine that people have to do in a movie, they do in a movie, and it's kind of fucking crazy.
Which is crazy, but also I think sometimes makes it more frustrating when you watch really, really bad movies, because especially as a filmmaker, because you're like, someone made that choice, and someone made that choice. Someone chose to do that shit. There's nothing happens in a vacuum. Even when you have auteurs, there's just so many people on set, and every decision is having to be processed until it's all right, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that can be even more frustrating sometimes. We're like, who the fuck cleared that? you know?
There's so many restrictions, right? We had a day. One of the sequences that people love is a conversation between Vin Diesel and Guy Pearce on a pier towards the end of the second act of the movie, and it's this very heated conversation that is really the philosophy of the thematic of the movie. We had an entire day that we'd planned to shoot at this pier in Cape Town. We had paparazzi running around. We had 200 extras. We had the entire crew there. We built a pier, we physically built all these stalls, and the weather didn't cooperate. And I think we ended up with something like 90 minutes that we were able to shoot. Guy Pearce's first day. And it's one of the best sequences in the film because it just was that energy of that day, but it could have easily gone the other way. There are days that I remember going the other way. And so sometimes you watch these choices, and there's even, for me, it's hard to watch Bloodshot because I just see all the things that we didn't quite get to. But there's so many choices that I'm like, I wish the weather hadn't fucked us, or the equipment hadn't fucked us, or the time hadn't fucked us, or a million other things.
Wow, sounds a lot like Hyper RPG.
Yeah, right. Going on.
Except we don't have to deal with the weather.
Yeah,
for
we
the most
do.
part.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, Dinesh. I really appreciate you joining us today and for us to catch up and all of your very valuable insights into the industry. And for those that don't know and who maybe came in late, today, right now, you can purchase Bloodshot on pretty much any digital purchasing.
Amazon, Fandango, iTunes. It's available everywhere.
Google Play, everything. So we're going to be watching it tonight at around 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. You can join us here on Twitch. We'll be doing a live watch along. We'll have the timer up on screen.
Even
and
earlier
everything.
than that. We'll probably start at 8.
How long is Birds of Prey?
Birds of Prey is only an hour and 47 minutes.
Oh, okay, cool.
You doing iTunes or Amazon?
Amazon probably, but it doesn't matter for the watch along. We have, we
But
can't
does
show
it matter
it on
to
screen.
you, Dinesh?
I recommend iTunes because you get the
Extra features?
Get the extra features. There's an awesome blooper reel, but there is an alternate ending.
Ooh.
Wait a minute.
Ooh.
I think I haven't seen all the extras yet, but I think that they accidentally put one of the deleted scenes that we cut because it referenced Harbinger. So you can check that out.
Okay, and that's on iTunes.
Sold.
I don't even have Apple ID.
I do.
Shit. I don't even have an Apple ID.
We'll figure it out.
Alternate ending. Oh, I wish I had seen that before we talked today, because I'd definitely pick your brain about that. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Call me later.
Okay, will do. Well, thank you so much, Dinesh, for joining us today. This was a ton of fun. This is really cool catching up with you, man.
thank you
And
so
I really
much.
hope Bad Idea works out, even though it's a bad idea. And I'm really excited to see those books dropping.
Thanks, guys. This was the blast. Thanks for having
Take
me.
care.
All right.
Thank you.
See you later, man.
Bye.
Bye. We still haven't figured out the proper way to end calls with guests because I'm here.
Bye.
Oh, so you can't hang up?
I'm here, so I can't hang up.
Well, when you run away, I have a little call to action for the audience.
Bye, Zach.
Oh, so you just want me to get up and leave?
Yeah. And then tomorrow we'll have like a mouse with a really, really long wire.
That's not how that works.
Okay, no.
That's not how that works. That's not how that works. So I'm gonna very awkwardly get up, go hang up.
You made it awkward.
I love doing this show.
Adam and I have something to say to the audience. If you appreciated spending time with us, Dinesh, and all of our special guests at HyperCast, thank you so much, Dinesh. If you appreciated spending time with us, we would appreciate if you told at least one friend about our live streams. The mods will be dropping a link in the chat room. You can share that link right now, and you can even rewatch the whole interview. If you caught it in the middle, you can start from the beginning, and it would mean a whole bunch to us if you shared that link. Thank you so much. Coming up next is my survival skills segment. We're going to be having a little discussion about how to sew a face mask for yourself. I know it has been pretty much impossible to get one where we are for weeks, and so I am going to try making my own.
And if you guys are enjoying the content, like Malika said, make sure you guys share it. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. We're going live every single day at 1 o'clock. Unless something happens and we can't. But we will be going live every single day at 1, and then we'll be streaming all day on Twitch after that. And also, if you are watching on YouTube, and I've had a lot of people ask me, well, I don't want to jump to the middle of the watch long. I want to start from the beginning. Where can I watch it? You can just go to twitch.tv/hyperrpg. The VODs for that stuff is open. Just go to videos, and it's all broken down by the watch along. So we have one for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Cats, Spider-Verse, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and whatever the movie was that we watched on Thursday, which I'm already forgetting because we've watched like 5 movies. What did we watch on Thursday? Anyways, that's all available on our Twitch VODs, so check that out.
We're still here. We're still locked inside.
We're still inside. We're still inside.
And if you want to commemorate this special time together, a great way to do that is checking out that Camp Social Distance t-shirt. That was our goal yesterday. We hit that goal. Do we have a goal for today?
Well, yeah, people get to join my private club.
Boom.
Every 500, we're doing a giveaway where people get to join my private club.
I know we didn't really
and we do giveaways.
Make a decision about this, but can we put that little Camp Social Distance thing as an emote. We can get a little camp social distance emote.
Want to do a special emote for these trying times?
Yeah, we're going to do a little camp social distance emote if we hit our goal by the end of today.
Okay.
And the shirts are on sale now in our merch store. You just go to hyperrpg.live/merch. I put the link in the YouTube chat if someone wants to put the link in the Twitch chat as well. It's a limited run. Because hopefully this whole experience is a limited run.
Oh my God!
But it is
Yikes.
available now, and you know, as sort of like things roll out, we will. It's a shirt right now, but I'm very confident that we will likely put it maybe on some hats, some beanies, some sweatshirts, maybe a backpack,
Maybe a
maybe
tote.
a sticker.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It would be a dope sticker.
It would
Maybe
make
a
a
dope
really
sticker,
good
right?
sticker.
Dope sticker.
Right.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So go ahead and check that out. We've got a few colors available as well, and your guys' support means everything to us. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you so much. We'll be here every day. Don't forget, set it on your calendar. We're here to keep talking to you, hang out, make you less lonely when you're having to be stuck at home. And if you have things that you want us to talk about, let us know. Tweet at us, or on our Patreon you can send messages. You can also let us know on Discord in the suggestion room. If you have things you want us to talk about while all this is going down, we would love to communicate with you in whatever way that we can, because, you know, we're here, and we got to be here, and we got to keep putting out content for you all. So having your input would be really great. Coming up next, Malika is going to be teaching you how to sew.
Yeah, you missed that when you
I missed that when I had to hang up the phone.
I'm going to start getting ready. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We're going to be right back.
Yeah, baby.
Bye. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Go pee, drink some coffee. We'll be right back.